Welcome to Talk Law Radio with attorney Todd Marquardt of the Marquardt Law Firm at marquardtlawfirm.com.
In the beginning, God had one law. Then he gave Moses the 10 Commandments. And now we have municipal, state, and federal lawmakers that won't stop creating new laws that might impact you without you knowing it. So listen in to Talk Law Radio Saturday mornings, Sunday afternoons, and anytime on podcasts everywhere, Facebook and YouTube. You can listen while you're walking the dog, washing the dishes, or working in the garage. Today we have Blake Newberry, who's an attorney with Marquardt Law Firm. He focuses on probate, estate planning, and guardianship. And so we're just going to get to know him a little bit better now. Blake, you come from a background in bankruptcy, and so we want to talk a little bit about that. But first, tell us the story about how you moved from Kentucky to Texas.
Absolutely, and thanks for having me back. I know I was on a little while ago, I think about a year ago or so. But yeah, so grew up in Kentucky and graduated from Western Kentucky University and got my first job working at Fruit of the Loom, doing inventory analyst work for them on the Sears Kmart accounts. That company is no longer around. So I unfortunately lost my job, but in that meantime, I had this inkling in my brain of maybe I want to go to law school.
Mm-hmm.
I had heard people talk about it my senior year of college. I was like, this might be interesting. So I told my fiance, who I met at Fruit of the Loom, at the time, I was like, I think I want to go to law school. So I took the test, applied to all the schools here in Texas because she's from Corpus. And so she said, I just want you to know if we stay together, I'm going to drag you back down there. And I said, I don't have an allegiance to Kentucky. I like it here. My family's here, but I like Texas. So applied to all the schools, the big schools in Texas, got into majority of them but UT, and then went to A&M for law school. Got into bankruptcy for a little bit after that, but always knew estate planning, probate was the area that I was passionate about. And so saw your posting for the job at the time that I applied, and that's what got me down here.
Yeah. I think I remember that you did some clinic work at the law school
Yes.
as a student attorney. And is that where you got introduced to estate planning?
Really, it was the wills class. I remember taking wills and estates, and it just kind of clicked.
Mm-hmm.
I was able to understand it really well, trust as well. They were some of my best grades in law school. And I tried to do the estate planning clinic my second year, but it filled up very quickly. So I did it my third year. And that's where I knew after doing that this was the area I really wanted to go into to help individuals and help people and their families.
Awesome. So what is it about estate planning and people and their families that you thought they needed help?
So, I mean, I guess I'm lucky to where I didn't have a lot of deaths in my family when I grew up. But my uncle passed away, and just seeing my grandparents kind of navigate his death, and my little cousins at the time, he passed away from cancer, and my cousins were like 10 and 6 years old. Just seeing that and seeing how it affected them. But really, I have always wanted an area of work, whether it was law or not, when I graduated college, that had an impact on people, that I could do something that was beneficial to them. And seeing estate planning and how it helps them prepare their legacy for their families and let them know exactly how they want it done is what enticed me to focus on this area and pursue it as a career.
Yeah, that's a great answer. Your passion really does come through. So after you graduated, you worked for a bankruptcy firm. Tell us what bankruptcy work was like.
It was a little depressing. You have a lot of people who are struggling financially, and they don't feel like there's really any way out. Now, bankruptcy is a necessary thing. I mean, I think a lot of people should take more advantage of it, but they worry about the implications and how it looks in society. But it was very tedious. It was very kind of heartbreaking at times for why people were filing, and so it was still nice to help them in a way, though. Help them get out of the financial rut they may be in and be able to come out clean and move forward with their lives after they get out from under the debt.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad that you were able to help them in that time of need. There are a lot of practice areas where people need an attorney to help them out, get out of trouble. And so I did criminal defense after I got my law license because it was so hard to find a job.
Yeah.
And I was telling my wife why I was helping them. You know, the Constitution says they can have representation and they need representation. And she said, well, why does it have to be you? So I also had the dream of being an estate planning attorney and elder law attorney, and so I kept looking for opportunities to do that. So I want to ask you about your family. I know that you're a husband and a father, so share with us something about them, as much or as little as you like.
Yeah, so my wife, Amanda, she's from Corpus originally. And then I have my son who is 5, going to be 6 in October. And then my daughter who will be 3 in August. So they're quite the rambunctious bunch. You know, you wouldn't think the younger sibling being a daughter would be as feisty as she is or fight her older brother, but she does. She holds her own whenever they get into their tussle matches. But no, it's great. Love them to death, and can't wait to see them grow.
What makes you happy?
Seeing them happy.
Okay.
And achieving my personal goals I set out for myself, and making sure that my family's taken care of.
Awesome. Great. Well, you've been working at Marquardt Law Firm with us for about 3 years, almost 3 years. Am I right about that?
It'll be 3 years in June, because that's when we moved down here.
Right. And so during that time, you've been learning the area of law. You've been learning how the office operates. And so I'd like for you to tell the audience, what do you like about working at Marquardt Law Firm?
I like how you have entrusted me with figuring out complicated tasks that maybe other attorneys haven't accomplished in the firm. That I'm a big learner in a way of doing the task. I'm not a great learner of sitting back and reading it in a book and be like, okay, this is how you do it. So you giving me that opportunity and ability to have that autonomy, but also work with you and Daniel to further my legal knowledge has kind of been the best part about working there. I feel like I've learned 10 times more than I would if I was at a larger firm or even at my bankruptcy firm. I mean, I feel like I've learned a lot more in this short amount of time. Now, I know 3 years doesn't seem that short, but in legal terms, it's short to me.
Yeah.
So that's the big things for me.
Cool. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
Since you started working with us, what are you most proud of?
I'm proud of the work I've taken on, but also really just the work that we put out for clients, the protecting them, helping them with probate in the time of a very stressful period of their life, and trying to make that as smooth as we can to make it one less thing they have to worry about. That's probably what I enjoy most about the probate work, is helping those families not have one more stress they have to worry about with court. Now, people are always going to stress, but I hope to alleviate it in some way.
Right. Yeah, they're grieving. They're trying to figure out how to move on from that.
Yes.
And then they have all this legal stuff that they don't know much about. Yes. So I tell them can't solve all of your problems, but I can help you with the
Yes.
legal stuff.
Yes. I try to frame it in that way as well.
What do you think is next in your professional development?
I think just growing with the types of cases that we take as a firm, and really just continuing to learn. I mean, at the end of the day, as an attorney, you never stop learning. There's always new things you have to remember. And so I think it's just taking the gap from 3 years to 10 years and just cramming as much in as I can, because I think the saying out there is that you're not a full estate planner until 10 years in.
Oh, okay.
Is the kind of time frame they say, just because there's so much out there and it constantly changes.
Right. It takes a while to build up experience, but we share our experiences so that all of us can kind of get some additional knowledge and know how, from the cases that you're working and the cases that I'm working, we kind of work together on that.
Absolutely. And using your expertise has been very beneficial.
Awesome. We're talking with Blake Newberry, attorney at Marquardt Law Firm, about probate and estate planning. And next segment, we're going to be talking about some hidden legal issue blind spots in probate, estate planning, guardianship, elder law, business law, and estate planning generally. If you have questions about this kind of thing, you can email Todd at Marquardt Law Firm, TODD at M as in mother, ARQUAR, D as in David, T as in Timothy, lawfirm.com. Or if you're interested in being a guest on Talk Law Radio, email host at talklawradio.com. We got to take a break. We'll be right back.
This has been Talk Law Radio with attorney Todd Marquardt, brought to you by the Marquardt Law Firm. You can learn more at marquardtlawfirm.com. And be sure to listen to the full Talk Law Radio show Saturday mornings at 11 on 9:30 a.m. The Answer.
Most families don't realize they have hidden legal blind spots until it's too late. Wills, trusts, Medicaid planning, even protecting a business. These are the kinds of issues attorney Todd Marquardt helps uncover before they become problems. Todd is the host of Talk Law Radio, where each week he guides listeners through the legal challenges families, veterans, and business owners face, while showing them the practical steps to protect what matters most. Catch Talk Law Radio, Saturdays at 11 a.m. on 9:30 a.m. The Answer, 6:30 a.m. The Word, and now in Houston on AM 1070 and 103.3 FM The Answer, or anytime on YouTube. Planning isn't just about documents. It's about peace of mind, security for loved ones, and building a legacy that lasts. Don't wait for a crisis. Do it before you die.